In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you the secret weapon that is keeping us plugged into the matrix. I'm going to show you exactly what you can do to break out of it so that you can be free and be who you are meant to be. Welcome back to another video. My name is Aaron and I help people expand their consciousness. Now in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you that of understanding the secret weapon that is keeping us plugged into the matrix, understanding that we do live in a form of matrix. Our reality is not the baseline reality, and this is a very, very empowering thing, because at a greater level of consciousness, you are in a way asleep, dreaming this is who you are. You are so much more than your physical body. You can think of your physical body in a way as an avatar that you experience reality through. You have the five senses, you have the brain, you have this way of interpreting reality, but in actuality, you are so much more than your body. We just grow up believing that we are our bodies. We grow up identifying with this character that we're playing in this life, but it's about knowing that there's so much more than we can possibly even imagine. So when we talk about being unplugged from the matrix, you'll first off see or maybe think of the movie The Matrix. And it is very similar. The movie The Matrix got so much profound feedback from people, and people love the movie so much because at a deeper level it resonates. It resonates maybe as a metaphor. You know, not everything in the movie The Matrix is the way it obviously is. However, in a way, people are in the autopilot mind. People are in the program that is keeping them doing the same things every day, thinking the same thoughts every day, feeling the same emotions every day, therefore creating the same reality every single day. And a lot of people are literally asleep, walking around in the matrix. This isn't meant to be a real negative thing. I'm not saying it's like we gotta like point our fingers and go, they're asleep, they're not awake or whatever. But when you're aware that there is a matrix, there is a program that people are literally sleepwalking through, you can then realize that your goal is to wake up. And maybe you're already waking up if you watch my content, because you cannot perceive that which you're not the vibration of. So if you're here, then this at a certain level resonates with you, because you wouldn't have clicked on the video talking about being unplugged from the matrix unless you were interested in it. Now, here's the way I want to explain what I'm talking about when I say the secret weapon that's keeping us plugged in. Now, I don't mean this in a negative way. Anything that I share in my channel is actually meant to be very, very empowering. And I never want to give the more negative influences power. Because you see, the thing is when we're afraid of something, we actually grow the energy of it, even though that energy might not even really be there that powerfully. Now, this is what I mean by this. When I first went through my awakening in 2012, I went through this awakening and it totally changed my life. I started realizing that I wasn't this avatar. I realized that there's so much more to life. I used to identify with having ADHD. I took Adderall for that. I used to identify with a lot of different things in my life, like my past experiences that were very painful. And because of that, I felt a certain vibrational emotion. I felt a certain way about myself. There was a certain way I saw myself. So what I did is I decided to learn meditation, because with meditation there was no negative side effects of it, whereas the side effects of taking Adderall, which is the prescription drug, the drug they give to people that have, quote, ADHD, the side effects of that are you don't eat very much, you don't sleep very much. So I learned meditation, and what happened was I started to observe my thoughts rather than react to them. I observed that I thought I had ADHD. I observed these perspectives that I had since having my childhood, and I was able to reframe them and break free out of it. Now here's the thing. I became aware, and the next question I asked myself, because it's so much transformed my life, just simply meditating, observing my thoughts and knowing that I can think thoughts but I'm not my thoughts. So then what happens is I ask myself, why don't they teach this? Why isn't this something that's taught in school? Why is this something that I had to stumble across through doing deep research? And why isn't this something that's more readily taught to people? So doing my research, you eventually learn more and more about the way reality is. And what you eventually come to is understanding that there is a certain level of control that has been happening for thousands of years on the planet. For thousands of years, there has been a level of control where people have been using that you can give it different names. You call it the cabal, you call it the shadow government, whatever you want to call it. But there are people that have kept this information at bay so that people don't really know their true power. You may notice that almost 90% or more of the things on the news are negative things that keep people in a lower vibration. You may notice that there's certain things that are suppressed and not brought out, and one of the reasons is because there's a level of control over that information, because the idea behind these people that are into these occult practices and that are having this level of control is that if you keep people in a certain state, they're not going to be too risky. They're not going to question reality too much. They're going to kind of stay observant to everything. They're going to be obedient. So what happens is these people believe that they need to control in order to feel good, they feel like they're responsible and have to control society the way that it is and was. However, this is the thing. Right now on the planet, it is a time of waking up from this, and this is a time of us claiming our power back. Because when it comes to suppressing that, of understanding that, for example, extraterrestrials have been around for a very long time, understanding that our history is completely different than the way we were taught when we were in school, understanding that when you meditate, it increases your vibration, and then you eventually start to see things in your life in a completely new way. You start to build more compassion. And when we understanding even the money system itself is a complete control system. Now, we're going to have money for a while longer, so I'm not saying you have to, be mad at it. The thing is, with everything I'm sharing with you right now, you don't want to develop a negative mindset where you say, screw it all, because then it lowers your vibration. You give power to that paradigm, and it's very disempowering. Now, I went through a couple months of knowing this, and I became aware of it, and I became very angry because I was like, I want to help other people to wake up. I want other people to know that they don't have to be under in a way, mind control of the way society is, the information is controlled, and the way that things work, where people are mainly left in the dark, and we believe that we need war, we believe we need all these things, when a lot of the things that we see in our reality is a puppet show. When you look at the politics and you think, oh, this is the politics and this is what's happening in the world, and then you eventually realize that it's all nothing but a distraction from who you really are. I don't mean that in just like a little metaphor thing. Like, no, literally, it's a distraction from what's really going on behind the scenes. And it's a rabbit hole that once you go down, you see reality in a completely different way. But I'm not telling you that you even have to go down that route. I'm here to just explain to you that there's something else going on here. Now, here is the secret weapon that keeps us plugged into the matrix. You want to know what that is? That secret weapon is us. It's our own thoughts, it's our own emotion, it's our own energy, and it has been used against us for a very long time. What do I mean by this? Well, here's what the shadow government, the cabal, whatever you want to call it, here's what they understand. First off, our thoughts create our reality. They know that. When I learned the law of attraction, I was like, why is this something, the movie The Secret came out, which is a big breakthrough, but other than that, it hasn't been something that you learn going to school or you learn anywhere else, even though it's something that it is very well known at different levels, at those levels. However, when I became aware of all of this, I then also noticed for myself that it's like, oh, my thoughts create reality. Well, they know that the thoughts create reality. Here's what else they know. They know that collectively, we are shifting through different timelines depending on the energy of us as a collective. Now, it works the same for the individual. We create our reality from the thoughts we think, the emotions we feel, the actions we take. That shifts us to different realities. Now, here's the thing. The mass amount of people of us, the billions of people on the planet, when we are focused on certain things and feeling certain emotions, it switches our timeline. So here's what happens at these levels. What they do and what they try to do is orchestrate different events. They may orchestrate something like 9/11. They may orchestrate different things that happen in the news. And what it does is when you have many, many, many millions and billions of people focused on one thing, guess what? It shifts us to these realities. So in a way, our own thoughts and our own emotions are being used to keep us in a certain frequency band. You could think of it like, why is everything on the news negative? Well, it makes us believe that the reality is negative. It makes us believe that we need to always be in reaction mode. If we're always in reaction mode, then we're kept in a lower frequency state. The key is being aware that this is happening, but not giving power over to it. Don't be like, oh my God, this is what's happening, because then we give our power away. You recognize it, but then you say, I'm going to take the control of my own thoughts. I'm going to put it in the own direction of where I want to go. You see, this is what is powerful. So in a way, that is what is used against us. It is our own thoughts, our own emotions, our own actions, and they'll use this in whatever way will have an impact. You want to know one of the main ways they use it as well? It's movies. It's movies. A lot of times, right in front of our faces, we will be shown things that we assume is some fictional movie, but we emotionally feel a certain way. Millions and millions and millions of people will watch movies, and guess what? That amplifies certain energy probable timelines. That's used to keep us in a certain frequency band. That's used to keep us on certain probable timelines. So movies, especially mainstream movies, many times will keep us shifting on those timelines. And those are used to keep us in a certain momentum. So it's almost like, I used to have this thought as well. When I used to hear like, I would listen to rap music back in the day. And listening to rap music, I used to always think that like, it actually helps rappers to be saying, I got so much money, blah, 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 blah. I got this, oh, cars, blah, blah, blah. Because it's almost like by them amplifying that reality through speaking it, you then have millions of other people that are feeling it, vibing it, thinking about, not themselves, when they're talking about like, I got so much money, I got so much cars. When they say things like that, the people that are actually listening to it are probably watching their music videos, seeing them with money, them with cars, the rappers. So it actually helps them as far as manifestation goes. That's always the thought, the feeling that I had. And now learning this and knowing this, I mean, I've known this for years when it comes to this, the way that things are kind of controlled like that, or intended to be controlled. But that makes sense because they're doing the same thing at a greater level. They literally work with people that are in that of Hollywood to help make and orchestrate these different messages, subconscious messages, symbolism, whatever you want to call it. And that is used to then keep us in a certain frequency band. One of the reasons you may be afraid of extraterrestrials or the idea of Martians or Greys is because of movies. It's because of movies. It's literally programmed into us to be afraid of it. You look at some movies like Jurassic Park, where these dinosaur reptiles are attacking humans and people are deathly afraid of dinosaurs. Well, with a lot of these movies, there's a certain agenda behind it that we're maybe not aware of because it happens right in front of our face, but we're not even aware of it. We don't make the correlation. So the greatest weapon that is used to keep us in a certain frequency band is ourselves. It's our own thoughts and our own emotions, and that keeps us in a certain way so that we're not aware of our true power, and so that we shift to probable timelines that some other people with different agendas may have. Now, why am I telling you all of this? Not to be afraid, to you to be empowered. Have you ever heard of the Maharishi effect? The Maharishi effect is a very real thing. When you get a certain amount of people that meditate on love and peace in a certain city or somewhere, like 5,000 meditators, I forget the exact number, these people that were meditating on love and peace, it reduced the crime by 70-something% for the whole planet. Think about how amazing that is. Because the power of positive vibration, of positive emotion, has that much power over everything else in life. Now, if that can happen at that level, then guess what? On the other side, with the negative emotions and the negative thoughts, it goes in the other way as well. But you see, that's known at a certain level. Now, the key to this whole process, the reason I'm telling you all of this, is to be aware of it, but to take your power back. Do not be afraid of this whole agenda or everything. They're losing power in this life. In this life, we will start to gain more and more of our power back because we're becoming more and more aware of it. That's why I'm making these videos, to help people become more aware of it. And then we can choose our own destiny. We can, as a collective, start to meditate together and go on our own timelines. I did a meditation yesterday on Instagram Live, and I was blown away by how many people enjoyed it and how many people liked it, because I was just helping them wire in that we are shifting and that we are going to feel better throughout the day, and we're going to raise our vibration and shift to a more optimal timeline. And before the end of the day, you will feel this change. And 200 of us at one time, at the same moment on live, we're doing this meditation. You could feel it because we're all connected. We could feel it, feel that energy amplified. Just 200 of us. Imagine if we did it with thousands and thousands of people. Imagine how amazingly powerful that would be. You see, so this is the power we have. And the power in this, the key to this whole process for deplugging from it, if you want to unplug, it's to meditate. It's to observe your thoughts. It's to understand you think thoughts, but you are not your thoughts. In the observation, when you're able to observe your thoughts, that's when you start to gain your power back. It's only when you're reacting to everything, What I would suggest you do is you just be aware of what you're thinking and how you're feeling. And I would say don't watch the news, don't watch the media, don't believe everything you're told, because almost a lot of the things you see that you think are real in reality, these little orchestrations from what's happening from one political party to another and all of this stuff, it's just a puppet show. It's keeping you distracted from who you really are. You are an immortal spiritual being living a temporary human experience, and your purpose in life is to wake up. Because as you wake up in your life, it's going to help you raise your vibration. You're going to become more aware of who you are. You're going to be able to create your reality in a much more deliberate way. And it's going to wake up people around you. People are waking up right now. Literally, it's like popcorn. It's like people are just waking up. And it's happening all over the planet because now is the time of awakening on the planet. But the key is to disengage from the old 3D reality of all of this stuff happening to us. Get in that observation mode and understand that the true power is within you. You control your focus, therefore you control your reality. And the more that you embody this change, the more that you find everything in your life will change. So learn to meditate, observe your thoughts, be and focus on your own vibration, raise your vibration. By doing so, it will change your whole entire life. So if you want something else that'll help you raise your vibration, I have a powerful meditation that you could download. It's in the top of the description box. It will help you to transform your vibrational set point, so that you exist in this higher level and that you're able to really be aware of everything I'm sharing right now. Let's do it for 21 days. I think it'll change your life. Also, I'll be doing more live Q&As on Instagram. If you want to ask me questions or be a part of those live meditations, you can click the link, or not click the link, but you'll see it right here. Follow me on Instagram. And I also post twice a day there as well. And other than that, as always, I hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to like this video if you liked it. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the little notification here so you can see the daily vids that I do. And other than that, as always, peace, much love, and namaste.